All right, this is Shenanigans. I'm Angel.
And I'm Becky.
She's got the cough drop in today.
Sorry.
It's got the dryness. It happens, especially when you talk as much as we do.
It's true. It's true. And I don't want to be coughing on you guys the whole time, so.
Yeah, no, I don't want that. But anyway, this is our first episode. I was like, yeah, I don't want that. Yeah, I don't want you to cough on me, you jerk.
Sorry.
No, it's kidding. It's kidding. Our weather has been like super back and forth and dumb and rain and...
It's only January.
Yeah, it's supposed to be better, but it is not.
But it's also very humid.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yep. So it's
not
yeah.
by any means warm. I think our highest temp is like 62.
Yeah.
But it's very humid.
Yeah, to the point where you still have to run fans or forced air or whatever, and then it makes you dry.
Yeah, just to keep the air circulating.
That's why we have our coffee. We got our different mugs today. Hers says, ew, COVID. And it's got David and Alexis in masks in cartoon form. Descriptions for the listeners. For the viewers, you can see it. Mine is Andy from The Office in the Starface, Dunder Mifflin. People passing people.
So good.
I don't think there's a copyright on that song, so I should be okay to sing that one part.
Yeah, you're fine.
Pretty sure.
You're good.
If Michael Scott comes after me, I'll get his autograph and then I'll apologize. I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. Could you sign this? Thanks. That would be wonderful.
That would be cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Of course, I don't want to be cummed after.
No.
I don't like the confrontation.
You can just say, don't come after me.
Yeah.
Don't come at me, bro.
Don't come at me, bro. Whoa. Sorry. I have
There's a dog
a puppy at our feet here, and he just had like a dream and shook and scared us a little bit there.
One of those things when a dog is sleeping and all of a sudden they go, "Bakada."
Yep, exactly. And for those of you listening, Becky made a super funny face, threw her hands in the air, flicked herself backward, and said, "Bakada."
Go to YouTube.
There you go.
Just
find us on YouTube if you want to see it. We're at how many? We're at 2. It would have been at like 2:38. 2 minutes and 38 seconds is where you would roughly find Becky's famous face making and handshaking and whatever. Anyways, so welcome to our first episode. Insert air horn noise. Bow, 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 bow. Pew, pew, pew. Sprat, sprat. I don't even know if those are noises people do anymore.
They're not. It's fine though.
It's okay. Fine. We were told we sound like moms, and we are moms.
Yeah,
so.
But also she said, and it's great.
That was Olivia, Becky's daughter, who said that we sound like moms, but it's a good thing. Shout out to the future ruler of the world. Just ask Justin. She's gonna rule the world one day.
She's gonna rule it, and Justin's gonna be her vice president. I think
it's true. The deal. I don't know what job I get, but I'm assuming that I do get something.
I think we're gonna live a comfortable life, regardless.
Yeah, I feel like wherever.
I'm fine with that.
She'd probably want me to bake things and sing songs. I can make up a song.
Oh, for sure. An Olivia President song?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The ruler of the world, of all the boys and girls, Olivia, we pledge to
Stop.
thee.
She's gonna actually...
She's gonna turn it into a ringtone.
That kid. She will.
Well, there she goes. She's got it. Unfiltered, uncut, just raw, from my heart. From my heart. Pledge to thee. I'm gonna get a good, comfy life when she rules.
Scary.
Anyway, that's shout out. Because our children are awesome. Right? Well, the first thing we're going to talk about today, because this is just chit chat, let's gab, let's talk. We were going to talk about Billy Goal, But we have some interviews that we want to do, and one of the people that we want to interview is on vacation.
Well, and really, there's so much to it. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm a slow reader, but there's so much in the book that I'm reading by Aaron Goins that is just fantastic. And really doesn't have anything to do with him personally, just the way things were back in that time.
Right.
The atmosphere around labor and industries and workers against company owners and so on and so forth. There's so much to it that really I need to do more research, I feel like.
There's a lot. Yeah.
And
sorry, I wasn't trying to laugh while you were doing that.
Okay. It's okay.
Those of you who can't see, I was covering my smile because in the background my cat goes meow, and I was like, oh my gosh, freaking animals. Stop.
Animals do be animaling.
Animals be scratching and touching us and chewing on things. So if you hear any of that, I do apologize.
I'm not sorry.
But yeah, there is a lot. So in keeping with our Pacific Northwest theme, as we're getting started here, we decided to turn our sights to a man who was also alive at the time and may have had a run-in with Mr. Gull. Mm-hmm. And that is the wild man of Wynoochee, the one and only
Tornow.
John Tornow. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Very interesting story as well.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Very interesting story.
Yeah. Like, it's crazy. I bet if you live around here, you've seen articles about it. You might have even, visited some of his lean-tos out in the woods. I have not.
Yeah.
But I could.
There was a picture of it in that article that you sent to me.
Yep. It was a crazy story.
And he had a pretty decent setup for the time.
Yeah.
And for what he was capable of doing and what he could get his hands on.
Absolutely.
He had a pretty decent setup.
Well, and the overview of it is, anybody who's read a quick article about it, is he was the wild man. He lived in the woods and he went crazy and killed people. You read about it and you're like, holy crap. I live very close to where he was, and this is crazy, and what was going on in Aberdeen area, in the Grays Harbor area in the 1900s, the early 1900s.
Right.
It was a crazy time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and disclaimer, of course, we're not trying to spread false information. We're giving you the information that we've read, the information that you've looked up.
We are not professionals.
No. But fantastic research on your part. Because
getting there.
You send me these articles.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know where you're getting them from. But I'm like, ooh,
interweb.
More information. Give me the information. I'll take it all.
She is currently grabbing all the information from the
air.
air.
Information from
podcast
the air.
listeners.
I'm pulling it to me, and I'm just putting it in my brain.
Sorry, I stopped and pointed at my
weird.
dog. Well, it looks like she's peeing on the floor. You better not be peeing on the floor.
No, it looks like
she's still potty training.
She has her face in your couch.
Oh, you know what? The cat's behind the couch.
Oh, that's why.
Yep, okay. She's trying to get the cat. Sorry. Back on track. John Tornow. So, started reading a book by Bill Lindstrom. He's done a lot of history. He's written books. He actually has one that he's writing too on Billy Gull. So there's going to be a lot on him because when that book comes out, there's just going to be a lot of discussion. But I started reading, and this is going to be part one of John Tornow's story because there's so much not only with him but with his family.
Well, and there was a lot during, like I said before, there's a lot during that time that a lot of you guys may not know that, I'll be honest, I didn't know that I just was like, this is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the logging industry. It was huge. And people immigrated from all over. So Tornow's family also came from Germany. So that's something that we'll talk about when we get into Gull is that.
And you have, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. You have a large number of Scandinavian people.
He was friends with Polish family too that ran some things. And so there's just a lot, but his actual name when he was born, Michael John Tornow, and goes by John. Yes.
Okay.
He was born to Louisa and Frederick or Fritz Tornow. Okay. Those are his parents. And actually how they met was really funny. They were in Germany. And Louisa already had her daughter. Her daughter's name was Wilhelmina, but she goes by Minnie.
Oh, that's really cute.
Right? And they called her Min.
I like that.
They were getting on a boat. It's like a 3-week boat trip to go to America.
Can you imagine that?
Right? And it was just her and her daughter because she had an affair at the house she worked at as a maid with one of the stable boys who said he was going to leave his wife for her.
Oh, it never works out like that.
No, and it
never
did not. So she and a 2-year-old Min were like, we're leaving. But what does this guy do? Who's like, I'm not leaving my wife and I'm okay with you leaving. He follows her to the dock and he's like, this heated conversation as she's trying to board and he's trying to get her to stay. And so...
Even though he said he wasn't going to leave his wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was this like changed my mind?
Oh, I have no idea what
to
he...
be a fly on the wall.
Right? Well... Frederick or Fritz, he was like 6 years younger than her too. He was nearby and he noticed it, saw that she was upset, and he came over and was helping her load her bags and asking her if she was okay. And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. As she grabs her daughter, like, who's this strange man coming over here? I don't know you.
Yeah, I would be
Back
like
up.
that too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You don't approach me when I'm with my kids.
Oh no, I've said that to people
Oh
too,
yeah.
before.
Yeah, I had to say that.
Yes.
Walmart parking lot.
Why? Okay, Min.
Walmart
Sorry.
parking
Pause
lot.
on the story.
Yeah.
It was Walmart parking lot for me too.
See,
I just
she
slapped my
beat
friend.
me. She just slapped me in the arm.
I'm sorry, but it really gets me going because as a man, why does it come into your head and the thoughts in your head and the things that you're thinking? Why would you think to approach a woman who has small children with her to ask for, do you have any spare change?
Like, I got a spare $5 right here.
Yeah.
I'm clutching my fist, podcast listeners, because I will throat punch a sucker who comes up when I am trying to buckle in my child. Back
It's not
turn,
okay.
leaning in, groceries everywhere. Like, back up, dude.
And I don't know about your experience, but personally, for mine, now the guy was really nice. He was like, I am so sorry. And I said, you should be, because that's not okay. That's not an okay thing to do. Wouldn't matter. Doesn't matter that I'm female and you're male. You don't approach someone in a parking lot. You don't do that at all. Not to mention someone who has small children, because you're automatically going to get someone who's protective.
Yep, that's a mama bear.
Yes.
Or papa bear if it's a dad. Like, those instincts kick in and suddenly you're like, there's this stranger near my child. My back is turned. Anything is possible.
And if it was just me, I would have said, oh no, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Move on with my day.
Yep.
Don't approach me when I have my children with me.
Don't
I don't
ever.
care if my children are grown.
Nope.
Don't approach me when I have children with me.
Nope. And so,
or my dog. If I have my dog with me, don't.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't.
Don't.
So don't do it.
Gross.
Yeah.
Ew. Sorry, you can go on.
No, anyway, no, that's
I digress.
Yeah, absolutely. We always digress.
I
So if you're
love
coming
that
here to just listen to a story about a man who might have been crazy and you're just getting mad, just skip. Like, if you're listening on Spotify, it's like a 15-second skip.
Or don't skip it, because our conversations are
Seriously. You're gonna miss out on cool things.
Yep, it's gonna happen. Don't
do it.
Don't do it.
In a way. So she was like, oh, no, thank you. And then the guy came back, the other guy that she was fighting with, to talk to her more. And Fritz went back over and he was like, oh, hey, is everything okay? And he kind of stepped in and she's like, she told him, because she was embarrassed, she was like, oh no, it's okay. This stranger and I are just having a conversation. It's fine. We're about to get on the boat. And so he saw to it that she got on, and they actually struck up a conversation. She saved him, or she tried to save him. You couldn't really save a car, but she waited and hoped that him and his brother got like the little, don't do that, please. Sorry, my daughter is moving things and it's very loud on my microphone. Please don't. Thank you. It's okay if he doesn't want to go outside. That's fine. Thank you. Sometimes the attitude on that thing.
Have kids, guys.
Sorry, that was
It's
my
fine.
daughter, and she made a very angel face, and I don't like getting my face made back at me when I'm trying to. Anyway.
Do not show me my face.
Yeah, I don't need to look in an
Excuse me.
obnoxious little mirror. Like,
Don't talk to me
got
how
a
I would
mirror.
talk to me.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Please don't.
Don't do that.
Anyway, so she saves like a little, or she tried to. She couldn't really save it. Don't want to create misinformation here. But Waits and him and his brother did get the car across, and they became quite close over the 3 weeks.
One would.
Yes.
3 weeks.
They hit it off, and he was like, just come with me and my brother to these new lands, because they're going through like Wisconsin and Nebraska. They made their way over to Portland, and eventually made their way to Grace Harbor, to this new land area that was not really developed. It was still very raw, very country where they were. But you know, that's how they hit it off.
And not to interrupt you, but as I'm reading, doing my own research during the same time, what I'm learning is that Aberdeen, downtown Aberdeen, was a distance of about 4 blocks wide and 4 blocks long.
Okay.
From what I understand.
Yeah.
And of course all, or mostly dirt road and or like plank sidewalk, I believe.
Gotcha. Right.
And so, and also during that time, because this is Grace Harbor and we get 9 months of rain, or 10. And
our land is beautiful.
It is. It's gorgeous. It's
so pretty.
We are grateful.
Yep.
But also, that being said, it's very muddy. And during that time, lots of mud. Lots and lots of mud. And so, yeah, that's what they came here to. Which I don't know. If I came into that, I would be like, I'm going to go find...
That's cool.
Find somebody...
I'll go back to Pennsylvania.
Maybe not so muddy.
Nope, but they bought up land. They actually owned a good amount of land. And they got into logging, as everybody else was. There were some prominent loggers in the area. And, you know, they floated the logs down the river and all that good stuff. That's how they started making money. They farmed. They had their own homestead. Like, this is what they liked doing.
And it's what they did. People as a group did this back in that day, because those were your options. You had to homestead.
Absolutely.
You didn't have access to grocery stores. You didn't have access to online services. You didn't have that. So you had no other choice but to homestead.
They
became really good at it.
And they ended up building their house from selling the lumber from the land they bought, because all the land, it was undeveloped.
Which was then, and still is, very lucrative.
Oh, yeah.
Very lucrative. You guys want to buy a piece of wood? $20.
Right? Like, just for a piece.
Just a
like,
tiny
ruler size.
This much. $20.
Yep. Yeah.
Dog is in my lap.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to continue on here. There's so much information in Bill Lindstrom's book. It's called Victim or Villain or Victim. I'll have to look up the actual name and put it in the show notes, because I was just like, let me get to reading, because we had to switch gears because we were supposed to interview on Sunday, and then it was like, oh shoot, okay, let's move to this guy. And so I just downloaded it and started reading, and man, he's got a lot to say. There was a lot. So I'm going to skip forward to when he was 10. Okay. When Tornow was 10, he got the black measles. Okay, and he laid in and out of consciousness for like up to 20 or more days. Like, wow. Didn't know if he was gonna make it. And for his parents, this was even more devastating, because they had already lost 6 children. Six.
3
they
plus
had
3 is 6.
4 stillburns and 2 who died in infancy. So they have been through it. Okay, so they already had Min, the oldest, and then he's got his younger brothers, Eddie, and then older brothers are Fred Jr., Albert, and William. So they have a good amount of kids already, and they have already lost 6 of them.
How sad is that?
I know, right? And so she was devastated, and she had just recently broken her hip. And so she is like 52, trying to care for her ailing son.
She's
bad
52.
hip. Yeah, she's 52 at this point in time when he's 10.
That's crazy to live to that age.
Yeah.
Back in the early 20th century, you were elderly at 30.
Yeah. No, she actually lives a pretty good life.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll get to that today too.
And to try and take care of a child in normal circumstances is difficult, but with a broken hip.
I mean, I couldn't even get my girl to stop dropping her markers when we're trying to record.
Kids are wild.
Sorry, I mean, we have families and we have craziness.
I like to refer to children as feral.
That checks out.
It works for me.
That checks out. Yeah, absolutely. So the funny thing is, so they had their friend who's a physician, and he told them not to get their hopes up. You know, don't get your hopes up. And so they're devastated. They're worried about their kid. And then the doctor comes downstairs days later, you know, and looks at her, and she can't even look at him. She's just like, oh my gosh, I can't bear this news. Like, she's, you know, as any mother would be who's already lost 6 kids. Any mother who hasn't would still be a mess, like thinking that their son's gonna die. And he was like, I don't know how, but he made it through. But in the book, I don't know how much of the book has some creative liberties or if it was all like taken from old newspapers. I'll have to research that a little more. But in the book, he says the doctor looks at her and he says, he may never be the same. So I was like, did they print that? Or is it, you know?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
But I would tell you, it sounds like from what you're saying about this, I mean, he's in and out of consciousness for 20 days. There's got to be fever involved. There's so I imagine that he maybe would not ever be the same again, because that does do something to you mentally.
The doctor said it will change him in either a mental or a physical way. Was he foreshadowing the craziness?
Right.
But he did end up, so John ended up having a lisp and a stutter, which would get worse like when he's stressed out.
What did you call the thing he was sick with? I'm so sorry.
The black measles is what it was called. The black measles.
I'm just Googling it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so he did, so that made him even a little more standoffish. You know, he's got a lisp, he's got a stutter. He didn't get along very well with his older brothers, but he really got along well with Min, and she was 14 years older than him.
Oh, geez.
So there's a huge gap, but he and Minnie, they really got along well as brother and sister, and they would often go in the woods together. And there was a point where she was 18 and he was like 4, you know, and so they're in the woods and they're walking, and he's like, wait, stop. Do you hear that? And she didn't hear anything or see anything, but then out of nowhere comes this beautiful deer, and she's like, how does he know? And then he was like whispering to it and stuff. So she's telling her mom, like, he can talk to the animals and he can see it before we even see it and all this stuff. So he had this connection with the woods from a very young age.
Kind of like a sixth sense.
Yeah. He really had like an intuitiveness.
Yeah. Which I think it's my personal opinion that can also come with something like that. I mean, it can change you in different ways. I feel
but this one, just real quick, this was before he got the black measles.
Oh, this was before?
Yeah, because he was like 4.
He was just a really intuitive kid.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that's really interesting.
Yep. So even from when he was younger, he loved to be in the woods. But then when he was old enough, like around 12, he would spend days at a time in the woods. And at first his parents were worried because, hello, my son is gone, but he would always get his chores done before he left.
I mean, I'm fine with this.
So he would always get them done, and then he would just kind of disappear.
Can you imagine if one of our kids did that?
Oh my gosh. I'd be calling,
I'm not waiting.
Search party, let's go.
Yeah, no, I'm not waiting.
Please don't.
No.
Yeah. So he basically grew up out there. Oh, and then the other thing that the black measles left him with was poor eyesight.
Okay.
But he was expert marksman. But he could not see. Yeah. He could shoot the deer right through the heart.
Wow.
Couldn't see it per se. He could see the outline. So you know how a lot of hunters, they wait, and when the animal is still, that's when they line up their shot. Mm-hmm. For him, he wouldn't do that. he could sense them, see the outline, and he wouldn't shoot until they moved.
Oh,
because then he could see by their movements, like where they, I was just like, oh my gosh, what?
This guy sounds like a Marvel character.
Right? I know. Woodsman.
I mean, yes, he does though. Because there's
poor eyesight, can't speak, but
Marvel
dang, he can shoot.
That shoots arrows and is like Hawkeye.
Yeah, Hawkeye.
And
which sounds like Hot Guy. Justin is always like, who do you like? Hot Guy? I'm like,
he's good looking. Jeremy Renner, look him up.
He can sing too.
Yes, he
can. I like his songs.
Ooh, that makes him even foxier. Sorry.
He can sing, he can act.
Do you want the quick Google version of the
black measles? Yeah, black measles. Let's hear it.
This is interesting stuff. It's just Google, but also called the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. It's a tick-borne disease. First recognized in 1896 in the Snake River Valley of Idaho. It was originally called black measles because of the look of its rash in the late stages of the illness when the skin turns black. And that's all the information you get on that. But
wow.
I mean, yeah, that would definitely change a person.
It's gonna leave a mental and a physical scar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine. That's crazy.
Well, no wonder he spent so much time in the woods. But he worked hard too. He actually, at a young age, ended up getting a job with one of the biggest loggers in the industry, man named Blackwell, Cy Blackwell. Ended up, because he would just hike and be in the woods and travel for miles. And he ended up meeting him and started working for him. They all thought he was a lot older too, because Tornow was when he was like grown, when he was an adult, he was like 6'2", 210 pounds. And he got tall when he was younger too. So he always kind of looked older. He could hunt better than anybody. He could make his own jerky. Like they all loved, he would bring them food.
That's
so
cool.
Everything you're reading so far is he helped out his family. He was a great hard worker, and Cy knew that he would like just leave for days at a time, but he always got his work done first. Okay, and so
I mean, it sounds like a all-around
he was
good dude.
Yeah, he was.
He just
wanted
to be left alone.
I guess so.
Get it.
Oh, and we'll get to some stories here. I'm just trying to give an overview. So Blackwell, he introduced Tornow to tribal members because we still had, a lot of tribes living in the area. Fishing was very popular.
Indigenous,
native
tribes. Yeah.
Yep.
That's very cool.
And John became a skilled sturgeon fisherman from learning techniques from the Ho tribesmen.
And that is not easy.
Yeah. But he learned from the Ho tribesmen, and he even taught some of the natives his way of shooting from the hip, because that's what he did a lot, was shoot from the hip.
Okay.
It wasn't always, because he can't see anyway. He can't see well. So he would shoot from the hip, and he was super accurate. Like, it was scary. It's scary how accurate and good he was at these things, you know?
So you would say, like, if he was caught off guard, as it were,
he could get you through the heart.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Quit being crazy, dogs.
Sorry, I know my dogs make a lot of sounds, and I would throw them outside. Oh, don't play with that toy. Oh my gosh.
It's been a day.
Oh, he never plays with that toy. It's one of those toys that like self-propels when you push it and makes a noise. And he never plays with it, ever. And it's heavy, and now he's just over here making all of these noises. Seriously, dude? Give me that. You can have this back it's this toy. If you want to see it, go to like 29 minutes in. It's a wobble, wag, giggle is what it's called.
It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh. And you stay there and be quiet. Find a new toy, sir. You never play with that toy. He just wants attention.
This is God's way of telling us we need to get a podcast studio.
Right? It's like, oh, well, you need to create your own space that's dog and animal free. My cat meowing in the background.
Does that cat often meow?
When he needs something, which is always, because he's baby. They're all babies. Well, these ones literally are.
They are.
They're
They are.
like 9 months and 4 months. Yeah. So they are babies. Anyway, so he learned from the tribes, taught them. He actually taught them his way of shooting from the hip, and he had his own techniques for fishing too, that he learned from them and taught to them. His brothers, he didn't get along well with his older brothers, and his younger brother Eddie was very lazy and oftentimes would not help out around the house. So he didn't get treated well. But when he was 16, from all this working that he's been doing, he saved up to buy a Winchester 30-30 from one of Blackwell's friends who was stationed at Fort Worden in Port Townsend. And that's at the northeast tip of the Olympic Peninsula. So he did a lot of traveling.
Yeah, that's pretty far away, even by car today.
But he would hike, he would travel, do lean-tos. So here's the thing. He got it, and he did not like the sight on it. And so he fashioned his own.
His own sight?
Yes, out of, melted nickel.
Interesting.
His gun, it said in here, was the talk of the Wishkah. That's the area. And it was, and so was his marksmanship.
I do believe that there's there's like a Wishkah museum. I think.
Oh, yeah.
There is, actually. And I wonder, very curious to know.
Oh, if they have his gun?
I wonder.
Ooh, we'll have to look into that. Because we'll have like follow-up stuff next week with answers to some of these. Mm-hmm. Oh, goodness.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
Yeah, that's crazy though. Making your own sight to a gun even today would be difficult.
Yeah. So as they got older, it was very easy to see that John was his mom and dad's favorite.
Okay.
Because he got his work done. He helped out around the house. He did everything a son, and especially in that time, is supposed to do. Mm-hmm. He would just be gone for days at a time. But as his dad was getting older and, knew it was getting close to time to die, he made sure John knew that he was leaving him most of the land, because two of the older brothers had moved away. One was in Oregon, and I can't remember where the other one went, but it was pretty far away. And then there was one living in Montesano. Okay. So they were all those ones were close, but two of them had moved pretty far away. Minnie got married to a man named Henry Bauer, and they lived a couple miles away. Mm-hmm. So still close enough that they could take little hikes over to the house and stuff. And she had kids. She had Mary, and this is where our story turns a bit incestuous. Oh, she didn't know it was coming. I did not tell her. Yeah, so this is where our story turns a bit incestuous. However, we're going to turn a little bit away from John right now, because it wasn't John.
Well, it's part of the story, though.
Yeah, it was his brother Eddie, and it's actually a big part of the story. And I'll connect it later. So, yeah. So, Mary loved going to her grandma's house. Okay. And after a while, they noticed, because remember, John is in the woods a lot. Eddie's the one left at home. Eddie is lazy.
Yes.
Eddie doesn't do work. Eddie lost his parents a lot of money in get-rich-quick schemes and things that fell through. So he's kind of like the black sheep of the family. The boys got big into logging and tried to start their own companies and stuff like that. And Eddie was like, I've got a line on a great deal. I just need this much money. So he just kept taking money from his parents, right? Well, little Eddie really loved his niece, Mary. And the family started noticing that they were spending a lot of time together and would often be gone. And it's like, where were you? Oh, I was hanging with Mary. She's such a lovely girl. And it didn't feel right, but they didn't know. They didn't know, right? One day when his parents were leaving, his dad, Frederick, had forgotten his pipe, right? And he had to go back and get it. and noticed that the barn door was open and there was a rustling inside.
No.
And he goes inside to check on it, and what does he find? A buck naked Eddie on top of Mary. Sorry, that got a little explicit there.
Yeah.
Got a little explicit, but let me tell you, Frederick was not okay with it.
Good.
And he took a shovel and started beating his kid, broke some ribs on him.
He beat his kid with a shovel?
Yeah, and he was
Good,
like,
I would do that.
yeah, and he kicked him out after that too.
Good.
Kicked him out. He was like, "You're not welcome here. You get out." He apologized to Mary, like covered her while she got dressed.
Was this a consensual situation, or does it say?
It does say that Mary enjoyed Eddie's company, but you know, he's older, he's her uncle.
Well, it sounds excuse me, he was grooming her.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Sorry, those are my dogs chasing the cat because they can't stop. Puppies. And then that was my cat coming back at them to slap them. Anyway, so yeah, that was a big part of it. And Frederick did tell John about this situation, and he was incensed as well.
Sure.
And he was glad that Eddie got kicked out. Yes, because he was kicked out, not welcome, because he had already drained parents' bank accounts, you know, inappropriate with his niece and all that. Just not great at all. So
that's awful.
Yeah, right? But you know, it wasn't too long after that Frederick passed away.
Okay.
And so he did die. He left a lot of the land to John. And, you know, Mary was still, not Mary, Mary's the niece, sorry. Louisa, the mother, was still alive. And so she still had it, but she was getting up there in age. She was in her 70s, like late 60s at this point in time.
Again.
Yeah.
That's very elderly for that time.
For that time, yeah. And so when the dad died, Eddie, who had been kicked out for a couple of years there, was like, "Oh, I need to move back home and help mom because she can't get around."
Nope.
And also, I'm moving Mary in because mom needs a housekeeper and a helper, and Mary loved it there. So he got Mary moved in, and John came home. So, and this is the other thing too, they couldn't find John, and the brothers didn't tell him that his dad had died.
What?
He did not make it to the funeral because they were like, "Oh, we couldn't find John."
No, that's not okay.
So there's another reason why he was already upset. He couldn't even go to his father's funeral.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That is really, really sad.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
would be heartbroken.
Right? Devastated. Yeah. And so when he came in and saw Eddie moving in Mary, he was very suspicious.
So you're already gonna be upset, and then you're gonna come into this situation where there's, ooh, that's gross.
Yep.
I would be unhappy.
Oh, yes. So what happened, anybody, after Mary moved in?
Well, I imagine that they had a relationship.
Pregnant.
Ooh.
She got pregnant. Eddie and Mary never definitively said that it was his. Actually, there was a story she told that said, no. See, Eddie and I were in Aberdeen, and we were out at one of the saloons, because they were all, you know, saloons and seedy inns and
That's what it was.
mistress houses, brothels back then. And Eddie and I got into an argument, and he left, and there was another man at the bar, and he bought me a drink and said he would take me home, but then we ended up in his bed, so it could be his. So it might not be Eddie's.
So she lied.
I mean, come on. So anyway, she was just trying to be like, no, it wasn't. So what does any young lass of the early 1900s to do when her uncle is also the father of her child?
shut up about it?
No, you get an abortion about it, is what
what she did?
That is what they decided to do. Eddie helped bring her in, talking to a doctor. What was his name? Strap? I'll have to look that back up and back my way around to it because I was like, wait, what? So anyway, went into Aberdeen and stayed at a lady's house who housed like young women and stuff. Mm-hmm. Almost a brothel about it. But she was a nice young lady. And she was from Germany also. Lots of German and Polish in that time.
Yeah.
And Mary went to this doctor and bada bing, bada boom, went back to her room. The madam there noticed that Mary wasn't looking so great and that there was a lot of soiled sheets from having an abortion.
Because abortions back then were very dangerous.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
More often than not, you would lose both mother and child in that situation.
And, Dr. Stapp. So, the headline, girl found dead in boarding house in Aberdeen. Suspicious circumstances. Name of deceased, Mary. So then we have a...
okay, can I stop you
Yeah,
for a
go
second?
ahead.
Did I ever tell you that my parents' house was a brothel? My mom and dad's house. At least according to my dad, it's on First Street, so you guys tell me in Aberdeen. But
yeah,
it's
we
very
can't give you the address for,
No, but it's very
love our lives
believable
reasons.
Because the house itself has two front doors.
Mm-hmm.
An in and an out. Na main. And also super haunted. We're talking about super haunted. And so I just got this like, what in my head. I'm like,
oh man.
Whoa. Like, wait a minute.
Oh,
was that the place?
Oh man, I'll have to look.
I'm sorry, I got really excited.
No.
I'm like,
I'll have to check my notes and see. I did not put like the street where it was because there was a district that was like the red light district.
Yeah, I wonder. I need to do the research on that house as well.
We'll have to do an episode on Becky's parents' house.
Yeah, we should
the brothel
a walkthrough someday if I can get in there.
Like, if you get the key, we'll just. Did they leave? Okay, we're going in. We'll just run in through and it'll be a real quick walkthrough.
It's really something.
So,
okay, I'm so
on
sorry.
A future bonus episode, is Becky's parents' house a brothel? And can we reach the ghosts? Even inside. Okay, so moving on with our story here. And this is important to remember too, because it kind of leads up to John.
Sure. And how sad.
Right? That's his niece. Yeah, that's one of Minnie's daughters. She had 2 daughters and then the twin boys, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Sad and it's icky.
It's really oh my gosh, right? And so she's dead. Mm-hmm. They said it was heart attack.
Sure.
Due to an unsanctioned or illegal abortion, caused by that. So they did, I'll just go ahead and say they did put Dr. Stapp on trial. And guess what? He got 9 months in jail.
That sounds like a sufficient amount of time.
Yes, because the judge was like,
also a baby.
I've seen the 22 years you've been practicing. This is my old-timey judge voice. I've taken into account the time that you've already been practicing, and I decided that, it probably was you. You got 9 months in jail, son, for killing that girl and killing that girl's daughter. Because they did. They counted it as 2. But still, the 9 months.
Something.
Oh, and Eddie was like, yeah, that sounds fair.
Wow. And
this is your niece.
This
your
face.
Unborn great niece / daughter.
Okay, and supposedly you would assume this awful, awful person, Eddie, would have had some type of love for her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he drove her in to get this abortion.
Oh, what an awful person. Oh, what an awful
drove her
person.
in. They rode a steamboat. There's steamboats and there's trains that went into Aberdeen from where they were. So that's important because after that, soon around that time, Louisa, the mother, also dies.
Oh,
and she was like 72 when she died. But the funny thing about this is that John sensed something was up, and he came back right before she died.
You know what I think?
Like, he had a connection with his mom.
He was an empath.
Yeah.
Is what it
sounds
like.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could, and she loved him. She left him, all the land. They did split up the homestead between all the kids. Mm-hmm. But most of the land and all that went to John because they knew that John would take care of it, that he enjoyed being out there.
And it makes
she loved him.
It
he would come home and chop wood for his elderly parents. He would make sure they're taken care of. He would give them food. This is not the man that I read about. Mm-mm. So he's at home now. He's already mad at Eddie. His mom has died. He goes off into the woods about it. Because that's how he copes. He goes into the woods. One day, this is all leading up to the beginning of the end here. One day he comes in because Eddie's at the house, of course, nobody else is there. Eddie's like, sweet, I got the house to myself. Comes home. Eddie has shot his dog, Cougar.
What?
John's dog. Didn't really give an explanation. But the dog was 14. He wasn't good at hunting anymore, but he was John's companion.
So?
I know. I was incensed. And
okay, so you're not good at your job anymore. Let's just shoot you about it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so what happened is when he saw this, he got very mad, shot Eddie's dog, and ran off into the woods, and from Eddie's account, shouted, if anybody tries to come after me or follows me, they're risking their life. Because I'll kill them.
He just went John Wick.
Oh.
Have you seen the movie?
I have not.
Don't mess with a grieving man's pet. Because he will turn into an assassin.
Well,
he was already an assassin in the movie. But anyways, not the point. Don't kill somebody's animal.
Don't mess with their animals.
John, don't kill somebody's animal because they killed
right.
their animal. And it's like 2 wrongs don't make a right.
So yeah, no, he already despised his brother Eddie.
Yeah, it sounds like
so
they
there
had
was
a bad
compacting grief and frustration. So he ran off into the woods. So what did Eddie do?
He probably went after him because he doesn't sound like a smart guy.
He did not. No, he's not. He's not. What he did was talk to the family and got a warrant to declare John's insanity. So he went down to file the claim because, see, if John is declared insane at that time, he is not allowed to own the land that he owns.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they wanted this land because there's money involved.
Well, sure.
Greed.
Greed and money.
Oh yeah. So if they could declare him legally insane, then they could take his land.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So it's like, wait, was he insane? He had this bursting of a moment, and so one of the sheriffs, John was in the woods. You couldn't find him. And he ended up going out to one of the lean-tos that he had made because he makes these lean-tos in the woods. This one had a couple rooms. There are. We'll have to put them up on our Instagram. Yes. The pictures of the lean-tos and all that. Mm-hmm. And so if you go out into the woods, that's where he is. Obviously, you've got to be careful. But he comes across the sheriff and he invites him in. And they're having a conversation, and he asks him, hey, Eddie said this. And he's like, yeah, I did do that. I did that. And I did shoot his dog, but it wasn't even all about my dog. It was about my niece. It was about, the parents. It was about Eddie's an idiot. And he's like, so all that just kind of compacted. I did do that. And the sheriff said, this is not an insane man.
Right.
Okay. So sheriff is saying he's not insane. I read an article, and I have not found it in the book yet, so I'm still going to research it, and we'll talk more next week. I read an article that said that John was put into an institution for 2 years. You've heard that.
I think that was the article.
It was not in the book at all. So I'm going to keep digging into that one. But now we get to the beginning of the end, because now we're in 1911 and we're in September. Okay. September, probably around the 1st, John goes into his sister's house, as he usually does, to get things he needs.
Because his sister and him were close.
They're
very
friends.
close.
Yes. Yeah. And he loved his niece. He loved his other niece, and he loved his nephews. Minnie had 2 twin boys, and one was named after him. One was named John, and the other was named, I believe, William. Yeah, William. And those are his nephews. He took them fishing. He bought them Winchester 30-30s when they were old enough, taught them how to shoot. Like, they were all buddies. They would go down. He would show them where the best spots are on the river to fish, because he's always down there and he knows. So he goes in and he's getting his stuff, and that's when she saw him last. 2 days later, their dad, Henry Bauer, noticed that some of the cattle had been attacked. And so he told the boys to go after the bear that he believes attacks the cattle.
Oh.
Okay, so they go out on September 2nd, I think it is. And they're tracking the bear. They never come home. And this isn't like them. They're not like John. They don't go out into the woods and spend all that time. They come home at the end of the day.
Right.
And so he got worried. And they got like a big search party, and they started going out, and one of the neighbors had said, I heard 3 shots fired. It was like 2 or 3, and I think it was over that second ridge. And so they've got this search party. They bring in these hounds that have been helpful in tracking people before and finding a murderer before.
I love a working doggo.
Yeah, yep. Brought in the hounds. And so the hounds started on their way, and they picked up a scent, and they found down by a ravine, they found a wounded bear. They called it a she-bear in the book, so it must have been like a mama bear, I guess.
Sure.
And they saw that she had been shot, and she was like dying.
Oh.
But the boys were nowhere to be found. So if they shot her, where are they? Yeah. Right. And so they're looking around. They don't see anything, and they figure the hounds had caught the bear scent.
Right.
So they're like, okay, let's give them another sniff of this one. Go back up to where we first saw the blood, and then move from there. And while about 100 yards toward the river area, they found one of John's lean-tos with like where he smokes all his meat and stuff like that. And he had meat smoking high enough that the bears couldn't get it and all that, And so they're like, okay, well, this is where John, one of his areas, because he had many throughout the woods. Right. I mean, he owned those lands.
He was a survivalist.
Right? Oh, absolutely. He could live on anything he found. He could create a shelter. They did notice, too, that the bullet inside of the bear and around there was that of a Winchester 30-30, which all 3, John, and William, all use that same gun. Right. But then at the campsite, they saw a pile of leaves, and they were like, that's kind of weird. They don't really look like that's the way they fell. So they went over and they started moving stuff around, and that is where they found, I think they found William first. Let me see, I wrote it down.
That's so sad.
Yeah. Oh no, they found John first, and he was shot in the shoulder and through the heart. Ooh. Through the heart. And they were like, oh no, we found one of the twins, and he was covered up. So, what? Yeah. And so, about 50 feet away, they found another pile of leaves, and that is where they found Will, and he was also shot through the heart.
Okay. So we're talking about 2 kids shot through the heart.
Yep.
you know, and in shallow graves,
Yep, covered in leaves. And they were also shot with a Winchester 30-30.
So I think I know at this point what you're getting at.
Yes, so the mob, the crowd, the search party, they do believe that John is the one who shot his nephews.
Okay. Which would make sense because it's the same gun, same bullet.
Yeah. Yep. And so it's like, oh my gosh. But as I'm reading it, I'm like, this is not the John that I read about.
No, not at
who
all.
loved his nephews. So there's some thought to it as maybe while they were shooting at the bear, John did not realize and thought there were people coming for him, and so just turned and shot. Like, oh shoot, someone's shooting toward me, because the bear was about 100 yards near where John had a lean-to, so maybe he was in that area. The kids shot at the bear. John thought it was, oh no, someone's shooting at me, so he just turned and shot.
Without even thinking about it, right?
Yeah, but then, so he must have been crazy, because then why would he go through that trouble to really shoot him and hide him? Like, I just don't get it.
Unless,
I don't get it.
Like you said, it's an accident, and then he does freak out, and oh my gosh, what do I do? Instead of reporting this to the authorities like I should do, I'm scared. I'm nervous.
I'm going to hide him.
People are already saying I'm crazy, so I'm just going to hide him, and I am going to...
And then he ran into the wilderness. And that's where we're going to stop our story today.
Okay.
Because this is the start of a lot of insanity.
Part 2 is going to be good.
Yeah. Just seeing his history, you would not think that this person would do that. He loved his nephews. He loved his sister Minnie more than anybody in his family.
Right.
Except for his parents. His parents loved him. He was their favorite.
Right. And in everything that you've said so far, he does not seem the type of person who's just going to act out violently unless he's defending himself.
Yeah.
Or his dog just got shot.
So there is a story too where he was out in public at the festival in Aberdeen. It was like a 4th of July celebration.
It was the Splash Festival.
It was the Splash Festival of the 1900s, the early 1900s. And so it was like a 3-day event. They had shooting events and stuff like that. And he had a friend who was younger than him who kept telling him that he should do the shooting event because he was really good at it. But he wasn't into that. Actually, there was a place called Electric Park, and it was in between Aberdeen and Hoquiam. It had a baseball diamond. It had like a man-made lake to swim in. Sounds amazing. Like, I'm like, why isn't it still here? We even had the Black Cats of Aberdeen.
Theory.
Yeah.
It is still here.
It probably
I think
was.
it's the spray park.
Oh.
Because when I was growing
only
up,
smaller though, because it had like a baseball diamond and stuff for professional games.
Having like what looked like a pool.
Yeah.
Where the little splash area is.
Yeah.
It was never in use, but it was like a little play around.
So yeah, maybe that was. We'll look it up. Next week we're gonna have all the answers. Anyway, so they were watching the baseball game, and John didn't care for baseball. He wasn't a fan, but his friend did, so he stayed. And then they went and witnessed the championship of the shooting competition.
Interesting.
And guess who one of the champion guys there contending was? None other than Billy Goal. Billy Goal, who...
So they were both around.
They were both there. Oh, and according to this book, they had a slight altercation there. Not of John's starting, but of Goal's.
Okay.
So John was just watching, and his friend was like, oh, you totally could take him. Haven't you ever heard of Billy Goal? He's this serial murderer and blah, blah, blah. I won't get into it because we have stuff coming up on him.
So much.
And Goal heard the friend talking, and came over and grabbed the friend, according to the book. I wasn't there. And was like, what are you saying about me? And apparently John grabbed his arm and was like, hey, let him go. And this, John's a big dude.
Yeah.
And he's scraggly.
Bigger
and
than Billy, because Billy was about 5'7".
Yeah. And so John is 6'2", over 200 pounds, a woodsy fellow with scraggly beardness and all of that woodsy glory.
I'm into it.
And Gold, like, he kind of shoved him aside, knocked him over, like Tornow did, kind of pushed him away, like, hey, let it go. And Billy kind of was like staring him down, but John ended up winning. Billy was like, where's my prize? And then it was over. Wow. So they had like a little run-in, but he wasn't being aggressive. No. He was being defensive to his friend.
It sounds like he was not the aggressor in this case. He was trying to fix a problem, is what it sounded like.
Yeah. So this person who cared for his friends, loved his family, loved his sister and their kids, how did this happen? How did we go from this man who was a hard worker, like owned a bunch of land, had money in the bank, owned property all over because he had a great boss who loved him also.
Right.
Everybody who met him, they were like, oh, he's a little off, kind of weird. He's got a stutter, but hard worker.
Yeah.
How did we get here?
I get it. Me and him are kind of the same. Hard workers who just want to be alone sometimes.
Right? Should I be worried about Becky?
You should always be worried.
Y'all tell me if she makes a move at me here. Those of you watching, those of you at home, you'll never see it coming. Those of you listening in, you'll be like, I never even saw it coming. I don't know why everybody today has a voice like this. It's that old-timey voice.
I like the old-timey voice.
The old-timey announcer, man, and there they come down the stretch.
That's so good.
I don't even know.
That's good.
I don't even know what I'm saying. The dogs are jumping into our laps now. But yeah, so that's part 1 of good old Johnny Boy.
Or the wild man of
the wild man of the Wynoochee. Oh my gosh. Hopefully we weren't too all over the place. I just tried to give you a quick little overview of who he was before the hunt. And next week we're going to get into hunting him, because essentially that's what they were doing.
Hunting a man.
And it gets crazy. And let me just say, more people die. So, but that's a story for another week.
Get into it, people.
Yeah.
It's good.
We're starting off with some Pacific Northwest crime, and I'm sad to say there's so much of it.
There really
something
is.
about the woods or something. Like this area, people are like, oh, you could hide a body there.
I mean, we don't get much sun, so
we need the vitamin D.
They didn't know back then that if you just took the supplement, just take an extra vitamin D, Mr. Tornow, you'll be fine.
You'll be all right. Quit hiding in your shade and your lean-tos.
Sun. That's all.
That got creepy. You look like you could use some sun. It's like the tanning bed killer. Right before he's closing it down, you need some sun, and then they just get locked in on high heat.
Fried them.
Extra done.
Fried them. Final Destination style.
Oh no. I cannot drive behind. Sorry, I'm like clapping into the microphone. Cannot drive behind a log truck now.
No one of our generation can.
No.
Or should.
No. I will switch.
Just change.
I'll be like, oh, a log truck. And guess what? Pacific Northwest, there are log trucks everywhere.
Literally
all
everywhere.
over the place.
Oh, especially going over the bridge.
Oh my gosh, no, never.
Absolutely.
If it's going uphill, no, thank you. No,
Absolutely
that
not.
is not happening.
Nope.
Like, I can see it, and I'm like, nope.
I'm just gonna nope on out of here.
Yep.
Thanks so much.
Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. We're backing up. We're backing up. For those of you listening, we were moving our shoulders and backing away. If you want to see it, it's at 1 hour and 3 minutes on our YouTube. On the YouTube.
On the YouTube.
We're on the YouTubes. We're on the interwebs.
We're interwebs famous.
Wait, we're on the internet? They let us on?
Oh my gosh.
We're exclusive.
Totally exclusive.
Oh goodness. Oh no, I need more cafe. Mas cafe? Oh no. Allie will make it for you. You want to make Becky some coffee?
Sure.
My daughter Allie, she's super. No, she can. That's fine. Do you want to come say hi? She says no, thank you.
Say hi, but you want to make me coffee?
She is a very helpful girl.
Do you want to switch?
She is 7.
You come home with me. No, she doesn't want to come home with me.
No, she loves
She's
me.
Scary, she says.
No, she lives with Scary. But, that's the way it is. Oh, that cat. Oh my gosh. How many times? Take a shot every time my cat meows. You're gonna have to.
Don't do that.
You're gonna have to run back. A shot of coffee. Ooh, either way.
It's bad.
People are gonna get lit. It's my cat.
You got the coffee? You got the coffee?
Got the jitters. Like, woo. Oh, it's the coffee. Oh man. But we have other stuff that we wanted to talk about today. Our Father's Day joke contest is still going until tomorrow, June 17th at 11:59.
You guys are so funny. You guys are so funny.
Yeah.
Keep it coming.
Keep making us laugh because we're going to look at them and whatever one makes us like do a spit take, that's who's winning. Just go to our page, Shenanigans with Angel and Becky, or at Shenanigans Pod 1.
Yep.
And go to our post. I pinned it to the top of the page. And all you have to do is submit a joke and then share the post.
It's just in the comments, right?
In the comments,
just
yeah.
Comment
because we're just trying to get
and it
out there.
Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, anybody can submit.
William.
Yeah, Will, submit a dad joke. You have a chance.
Or more. Didn't he already?
I don't know. I'll have to look. I remember seeing memes because he was like, I can't do it because I can't win. Oh.
Because I'm big.
Go back to London. Are they still in London?
Baby. Norway.
Norway, that's right. So never mind. Whatever, man. Whatever. Send me pictures, you jerk. I love you, you jerk.
He's a big turd, isn't he?
Will. Anyway, so we have that going on. So in honor of Father's Day, we wanted to, tell our fathers that we love them. My dad's been waiting for the podcast to come out, so now I get to embarrass him a little bit because he embarrassed me
been so sweet,
as a child.
I've seen him on our Facebook stuff, and he's always liking.
Yep.
He's always making sweet comments.
Oh yeah.
What a nice guy.
I know. This is the same man who would squeak shoe way his way through the grocery store, pick up things off of shelves, randomly throw them behind for me to catch. Imagine. Man finds an empty aisle, shoes are wet because of Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
Squeak, 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 grabs an item, throws it, turns the corner. He's gone, I'm standing there to catch said item. And if I don't catch it, we're in trouble. I always caught it, but I was always like, Dad!
That's hilarious.
That's what he did.
That's hilarious.
Right?
So that's where you get your mischievous humor.
Yes. Well, and also sorry, Dad. He would stand in our doorway. Stand in the doorway, okay? Shout out to literally no one, unhand that girl, you cad! And then he'd turn and smile at me, and I'm like, who are you talking to, Dad? And he just laughed. And I was like, what? Just random in that, unhand that girl, you cad! That old-timey way. And I was like, what is happening?
You're like, who? What? Where is there?
He would always say hilarious things. And so, first happens, I'm looking at the door, and I'm like, Dad, there's no one out there.
Right.
He would go out of his way while we were driving if there was like a bag on the road and he's like, is that a dead body? And he would drive us over to said bag and I'm like, what if it is? And then, what are you doing?
This is Grace Harbor, so it very well could be.
So yes, that's where I get my mischievous humor and curiosity.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep, he's the one who got us into going into emptied houses just to see what was in there and what it looked like. Oh, it's been empty for a while. Let's sneak in. Dad, we're going to get caught. Who cares? We walk inside and take a tour. Sorry,
my
Dad.
gosh.
I'm telling all your secrets.
I love it though. Because do you not, when you see an antique house, do you not get very curious?
Yeah, I'm like, ooh.
I get very curious.
Just go with my dad. He doesn't care.
I also want to know the history behind said house. Mm-hmm. I want to know it all.
I want to go in a house and find something in the wall. Go in there and find like an old map or a letter.
I went straight to dead body.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. I went straight to
you
dead
and my
body.
dad and the dead bodies. I do not want to find that. I'm talking about like a cool map or like a cryptid box where you're like, oh my gosh, what's inside of this box?
There was, excuse me, like I said earlier, my parents' house is really cool. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. And when they took the fireplace out of the house when I was a kid, so we're talking early 90s. Mm-hmm. And when they took the fireplace out, they found a bunch of old stuff. Old tin toys. Ooh. And old kids' books and stuff like that. So, yeah, there is stuff.
There's stuff in old houses,
back
man.
in the day, before insulation was insulation, they would use, like, newspapers.
Right.
And stuff like that.
That's funny that you mentioned that because,
Thank you, sweetheart.
Thanks, Allie girl.
Thank you,
The barn that's still standing, I believe, that the Tornows built, his dad lined it with old German newspapers from their hometown and stuff. And so that's what they used. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They used what they had. Because again, homesteading. Yeah. Gotta use what you have.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's Happy Father's Day, Dad. Sorry I gave away all your secrets. People who know him are going to be like
a hilarious
Curtis.
Guy.
Ew, he's so funny.
I like that.
He would make up songs about anything too. That's why I like to make up songs.
Oh, Tim's dad does that.
See? And that
my father-in-law.
Father-in-law.
Who is also very funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you know, because Angel used to nanny for me, so she would come to my house and watch the kids while I was at work.
Oh, yeah.
And my father-in-law lived in our house along my father and mother-in-law. And he would just walk around singing songs he would make up. And so he would be singing, oh, buddy. And all the time. I know he had other songs, but that's the one that I remember. And my kids still to this day will sing that song from time to time.
That's so nice.
It's a sweet memory. I love that. And my dad, very dry sense of humor, but funny too in his own way. She is hard staring.
I know. My daughter, I think she wants something. Did you want something?
I was wondering, can I get them treats?
The dogs?
Yeah.
Well, they're calm right now, so let's wait. Okay, thanks.
That was hard. That was like...
She was staring into my soul,
just
waiting for me to notice. Yeah.
Threw it to the other side. Girls do
right?
that. It's all right.
Yeah.
You're cute. Get it, girl. So, growing up, my dad is an amputee. He has only one leg. It was a pretty horrific accident.
Oh,
I think he was 20 or 21 when he lost his leg. And so it was all I ever knew growing up. And he had a great sense of humor about it. What an amazing, strong guy, too, because after he lost his leg, instead of, giving up and I just, I only have one leg, so I don't want to do this. I don't want to work, all this stuff. He actually would cross-country ski.
Oh, wow.
I believe he was in the Special Olympics for that in Colorado.
Wow.
There's a picture of him in a competition of sorts. So I'm not really sure exactly what it was, but...
Some competition.
Yeah, and he did really well. And
that's awesome.
When they moved us up here, he worked as a draftsman for a company called Lambs in Hoquiam until they shut down. And then he worked for Pacific Veneer in the logging industry.
My dad also worked in logging when he was younger.
And that's what they did, in the 80s and 90s. Logging was still huge in our community. And so he did that for 20 plus years till they shut down. And he, with the help of a prosthetic leg, he would ride his bike to work.
Wow.
Any day that was nice. And some days that weren't nice because, we have a lot of those.
Most days.
And his humor was so dry, but it was so great. And when kids would ask him growing up, oh, how did you lose your leg? He would tell them it was from a shark attack.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you, the guy lived in Colorado. it's landlocked. Colorado. So it was not a shark attack. But that's what I thought.
Field sharks.
Field sharks. Sharknadoes.
Sharknadoes.
So that's what he would tell kids. I thought that's what it was.
Gosh.
Until my late teens. I was like, oh, that is so cool that you were attacked by a shark and you survived. And he's like,
About that, honey. Come on over and have a seat. We gotta talk.
Not really what
I don't know why I gave your dad this voice.
What? That's pretty close.
There we go.
Yeah, that's pretty close. So that was his sense of humor. You know, he went through some pretty tough stuff. He was in Vietnam.
Oh, snap.
I think 2 tours, but I could be very wrong. Maybe 1.
What do we really know about our parents?
What
they
really
tell
know?
us, and sometimes they lie.
Well, I get it. I don't know. I get it.
Right?
But yeah. He was a funny guy. He had a great sense of humor. Very dry, but very hard worker.
Yeah, good.
Where I think, at least I would tell people that's where I got my sense of work ethic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
That's great.
I am so grateful for that. So,
yeah.
Happy Father's Day to that.
Happy Father's Day to our fathers and our fathers-in-law.
Yes.
My father-in-law is also really funny.
He's a great guy.
He's actually, if you go to join our competition, there's a link to his dad jokes video.
His
because
dad jokes are epic.
well, and he loves them so much too.
Yes.
So it's funnier when you're telling a joke and you enjoy said joke. So then it's like a twofer. It's a 2-for-1.
When somebody has a tough time getting through a joke because they're laughing so much, I think it's better.
My sister posted one, and I don't know why I just keep laughing about it. So, probably because we both have our dad's sense of humor, and it's why did Sally fall off the swings? She had no arms. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Not Sally. I'm so loud. I was like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. But I kept reading it. I tried to tell it to Justin.
He's coming back.
And you know what he did?
What?
That jerk. He was like, how's she knocking if she doesn't have arms? And I was like, that is not how a knock knock joke works. I say knock knock, you say who's there. And he was like, oh, sorry, try it again. I was like, you ruined it.
Okay,
You soiled it.
To me, that makes it funnier.
Then he was like, no, I'm sorry.
It seems illogical for her to knock if she has no arms.
Right?
But I guess that's why it's not Sally.
It's not Sally. So dumb.
So dumb.
So
but
dumb.
that's why it's so good.
I know, right?
I think personally. Some people don't get it.
But it's the dad joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. When does a joke become a dad joke? When the punchline becomes apparent. Come on.
Sorry. I just slammed my hand on the table.
Slapping
Because
things.
it was funny. And when something is funny, I slap the table. Okay?
Table slapping funny. That's what we're looking for. Oh, and you get a prize if you win.
Not just knee slapping funny.
Yeah.
Table slapping
Table
funny.
slapping. Because why would you slap your own knee?
I don't know.
That'd be rude. I don't like to hit myself.
No.
But yeah, so those, you got a good one. Send it to us.
Send it to us.
Send it to us.
The funniest one will win.
The funniest one will win.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
And when
Even
is
if
the
Will
deadline?
submits the funniest one, it could win. We'll just send the prize to someone else. That was like a horn. Oh, man. Oh, but we kid. It's funny, though, because I used to nanny for Becky, and last week when we were doing our pre-episode afterwards, I don't know how we got to talking about streaking, but we did.
Oh, yeah.
And so
That's
turns
just how our
out,
conversations go. We're just talking like
right?
normal people,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, what? Streaking?
yeah,
Huh?
streaking. How did we get here? I don't know. But it brought up a funny story that Becky told me about her husband. So
okay.
You can tell it, and then I'll tell you why that's funny.
Sorry, honey, but you did do this, so.
Very different now. We loved him.
Yeah, we were just talking about this before we started.
We're all 20 years older.
100% different people than we were when we were in our teens.
Absolutely.
And my husband was a wild and crazy guy, and in his senior year, he wanted to do a fun prank and decided that it would be super duper fun to streak, he says, in his Speedo.
Right.
Through the high school. And back then it was like 2 or 3 different buildings.
Yeah, several buildings, because there was the 5th Street. There was 1, 2, like 4.
4 buildings.
Yeah.
And
they were spread out. It was a walk to get from place
so you really
to place.
had to.
Yeah.
It was a good jaunt. And so he did the streaking through, I believe, all of the buildings.
Probably.
And with a group of his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his senior prank.
Right. And why was this funny? Because who was walking out of the office as a bright young freshman that year? Yeah, hi, me. That was me. And so I'm coming out of the office and I open the door and I'm young and there's a group of, they look like men to me, running by, and my eyes just dart upward because I was like, oh my gosh, there are streakers coming by. So I don't even know how we got to that story, but when she mentioned it, I was like, that was me. They ran by me. And I was like, eyes up. What is happening? I don't know.
That just goes to show you what a small world.
Right? I thought it was hilarious.
It
The
was
connection.
hilarious, yeah.
So funny. I was like, seriously? Wait a minute.
You're like, hold on a second. That was me they ran by.
That was me finishing my first year of high school. Getting ready to be a sophomore. And I was like, wait, what?
You know, all those people that are in my age group that I know that probably also saw it.
Right.
Sorry. But not sorry, because he's... I like my husband.
That's good. You should.
You should.
She does. She loves her husband. I love mine too. We've got good ones.
Yeah.
They're dads too.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day to them.
Happy
They're
Father's
awesome dads.
Day to our hubbies, because they are fantastic.
They're good
are.
dads.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't
fun.
know how I got so lucky, but I did.
He's the lucky one.
Sub it. Sub. Oh.
She keeps pushing me.
I'm a physical person.
Gonna have a bruise on one arm.
Probably.
Just kidding.
Oh, yeah. So that reminds me, poor people that I used to work with. My friend Dale that I used to work with.
Barrel.
He had like a permanent always bruise right here. But you brought it on yourself.
Yeah.
Because of the...
Better be watching this or listening to this.
He's got a dude sassiness.
He does.
He does.
Brings it on himself, man.
Also very dry sense of humor, but I appreciate it. I thought it was funny, but it would take a second and marinate it, and I'm like, wait, oh, just like that.
She just keeps slapping me. She's gonna get the stanky boot, man. I'm gonna kick her under the table.
Do it.
Oh man. We got told we sound like moms, and we're really proving it in a good way. We're the good kind of moms.
I think we have an audience to reach.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why if you like us, you need to like and follow and subscribe. Become obsessed. Follow us on everything, but don't follow us in real life.
Yeah, we don't appreciate that.
No.
Especially if we're with our kids, for sure.
I mean, we told you that earlier.
Yeah, we did. I feel like we made that clear.
Very clear. Very clear.
Your kids just...
My daughter is sitting here trying to distract us in any way possible. Here's Mom. Here's a caramel. I brought this for you.
Oh.
No, let me stare at you, Mother. That's what she's doing. If you can't see me at home because you're listening on the podcast, I got real close and opened my eyes real wide. You know,
the mom stare.
The mom stare.
The mom stare that's like, stop doing what you're doing. I usually just do the eyebrow.
Oh, yeah. The one that I can raise up is covered by my hair. So I would have to flip my hair back and then raise it slightly. Yeah.
That's why I park this way, because
I
can't have my hair over the mom eyebrow.
You can't have the hair over the mom stare.
Or the kids aren't going to see the mom eyebrow and they're not going to get it.
Right. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I don't know why I said that so meanly. That makes sense.
Makes sense.
It's because it's early. We're recording this early so that you guys can have it. We want you to have it.
We want to give you the content.
Yes.
Also, I'm a morning person. I've been up since like 4.
Yeah, she said 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. For those of you tuning in, 4 a.m.
No alarm set. There's no reason for me to be up that early.
Oh, man. Oh, and also coming out today, too. We're about to record our bonus episode. If you listened last week... Yes, we got the hand gestures down. If you want to see them, go check out our YouTube because we can't help it.
Is it spirit fingers or jazz fingers?
You did like Tyrannosaurus Rex claws.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
She's got like T-Rex claws going up. Her elbows get tucked in by her boobs.
Me back to a place in Jurassic Park, which I just saw last weekend, which was fantastic.
I love Jurassic Park.
Oh, it was so good.
He left us. I'll never forget her face the first time I saw it when I was younger because I was just a teen and I was like, oh my God.
I know, she was so legitimately scared.
Who would leave like that?
Right?
Yeah.
That guy was a jerk, that lawyer.
Yeah. Oh, he was so bad.
He deserved to get ate by the T-Rex.
Chomp, chomp. Chomp. Yeah. But yeah, that's a good movie. I like it.
One of the best.
Yeah. Kid keeps moving all over the place. Oh, and I just poked my dog in the eye. Sorry, Poochie.
Sorry.
Oh, we're bonus episode. We are about to record it, and it is, if you tuned into our pre-episode episode, you got a little taste into the animal that Becky really dislikes, and we had people wondering why. So our bonus episode is going to be of the birds.
Don't like them.
So we're about to dip on out and record that for you as well. It'll be shorter than this one, but you know, got a good amount of cleaning done while you're listening to us.
Yeah.
Good amount of laughing. Good amount of gasping. Incest. Ooh. My daughter called me weird, and I take it as a compliment.
One should.
Yeah. But where can you find us? Everywhere.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't know of anywhere that we're not on.
Well, we haven't gotten to all the podcast venues yet.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking just social media.
Social media, Twitter, we are on all the
Instagram,
things.
Facebook,
yeah.
TikTok.
Most active on Facebook and Insta for those. Oh, and TikTok. We'll get more of those up today. But, you know, search us at Shenanigans Pod 1 and you'll be able to find us on all of those. Of course, the podcast is called Shenanigans with Angel and Becky. And it's all shenanigans, mischievous ones, of true crimes past, of current, of streaking, like just all the shenanigans you can think of.
And just us not being able to hold a train of thought.
Dude, you're just chatting with us. Like, that's the way that it is. If you're missing your friend and you're like, man, I just could really use a chat, turn us on.
We're your friends. Oh, sorry. Don't do that.
Turn on our show.
Turn the show on.
Turn the show on.
Sorry, guys.
It was innocent. I swear to it.
I didn't mean it.
I don't know why you... I didn't mean it.
I don't know what that was. I'm sorry. I don't know what that was.
But as we didn't say it in this show, we often break into voices or dialects or
we did
accents.
say it in the
last one we did. We forgot to say it here. Sorry, but it happens. We quote shows a lot too. It's just gonna happen.
Everything pop
Deal with
culture from the 80s and 90s and early aughts.
Anything we've ever seen ever. Anything we love.
Yep.
Anything. All right. come find us and follow us electronically and on the web, not in real life. We'll punch you. Yes. But, I mean, if you wanted our autograph, we might be flattered and run away. Not giving it to you right now. No. That's creepy. How do you know where we are?
Right?
Back up. Anyway, I'm about to throw my animals outside so we can get ready. Sorry about all that. Like I said, take a shot every time you hear the cat.
They're going to be very
of water.
Inebriated.
Be hydrated.
Yeah.
A shot of water. There you go. Water shots. Aqua H2O.
Get that hydration.
Sheesh. Sorry. Oh, all those stupid things run through my house. And I know that they don't do that one anymore, and that I'm not cool when I do it.
TikTok trends.
It's not bussin'.
Like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no cat.
What? Can someone tell me what does
no cap? It's like not lying. Like
why
no
don't
joke.
You just say that?
Because you can't.
But why?
I don't know. See, I don't make the rules.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
I could give you a cootie shot though.
Explain it to me. Yes, a cootie shot. I'm with that. I get it.
Circle, circle, dot, dot. Mm-hmm. Now you got a cootie shot. I just gave Becky a cootie shot on her arm. She is now immune to cooties.
I am immune to
You're welcome, Tim. She can get all your cooties she wants now.
Yeah, I'm immune. I'm good.
Of course, we all got shots when we were in grade school for that, so that was more like a booster.
Yeah, I was homeschooled, so...
You didn't?
What you did just there made no sense to me. But I just follow it. I'm sorry.
All of you who went to public school know that on the playground, that's how you got a cootie shot. Someone grabbed your arm, drew 2 circles, put a dot in each of the circles, said circle, circle, dot, dot. Now you got a cootie shot.
I know nothing about this.
That's okay. She knows other things. And
all the useless things
that
just make absolutely no sense. I know all of them. I know lots about TV because that was who raised me. TV did a very good job.
On the TV were my friends.
They were. Yep. It's not sad at all.
It's not funny either.
It's not sad or
I'm
funny.
shielding my smile from her.
No, it's freaking hilarious, is what it is. But this is what, again, it's what you're getting yourself into.
It's who we are.
Yep.
It's who you are. It's who you is, and you don't even know it.
You don't even know it.
But now you do. So come join us on Shenanigans. Hey. We'll never let you down again. You're welcome.
And Allie's just shaking her head.
Well,
stop, guys.
She's 7, so what does she know? Love you. Yeah, don't sit there and act like you don't say things like that to your kids. People listening at home.
They do.
They do.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Everybody does it.
I heard. Anyway, cue outro music. I'm going to add it later. But we're going to pretend we hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff. I love this outro music. Shenanigans Pod 1.
Do, 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 do.